This is not a kid's story. There was once a child who was almost thrown away the moment he was born. Not because he did something wrong, but because of how he looked. And what his own mother saw made her wish he had never existed. In a quiet corner of a forgotten village, there lived an old couple. They had nothing. No land.
No wealth.
Only tired hands and a lifetime of struggle behind them. But what hurt the most was not their poverty. It was the silence inside their home.
No laughter.
No child. No future.
For years they waited.
Hoping, praying, begging fate for just one thing, a child. But time kept taking more than it gave. Their hair turned gray. Their bodies grew weak. And slowly, their hope disappeared. Until one day, something strange happened. The old woman went into the forest like she had done 1,000 times before. The sun burned above her. Her body felt heavier than usual.
Her throat dry.
Every step felt like the last. She needed water, desperately. She looked around and then she saw it. A small coconut shell resting beneath a tree. Inside, rainwater.
Clear. Still.
Almost too perfect. There was something unusual about it. But she was too tired to think, too desperate to care. So she picked it up and drank. That moment felt small, unimportant, forgettable. But it wasn't. Because from that moment on, her life would never be the same. Weeks passed, then months, and something impossible happened. She became pregnant. At her age, when hope had already died, life suddenly returned. At first, she couldn't believe it. Then she cried. Then she smiled for the first time in years. Maybe this was a miracle. Maybe this was the answer to all those years of silence. But not all miracles arrive the way we expect. When the child was born, everything changed. The room went silent. No one spoke. No one moved. Because what they saw was not a child. There were no arms.
No legs.
Only a small round body. Lying still. Unfamiliar. Unnatural. Like a coconut. Fear filled the air. "This is not a child," someone whispered. And once those words are spoken, they don't disappear. They grow. They spread. They become truth in the minds of everyone who hears them. The old woman stared, her hands trembling, her heart breaking. This was not what she prayed for. This was not what she wanted. And in that moment, a thought entered her mind. A terrible thought. She would leave him. Because sometimes it feels easier to abandon something than to face a future you don't understand. She picked him up, slowly, carefully, and walked toward the door. One step, then another. Every step heavier than the last. And just as she was about to let go, a voice,
soft, weak,
but real. "Mother," she froze. "Please don't leave me." Time stopped, because in that moment, everything she believed collapsed. That thing, that creature was speaking, not like a monster, not like something unnatural, but like a child, her child. Tears filled her eyes. Her hands shook, and slowly she pulled him back, not because she understood him, but because she couldn't abandon him anymore. Because in that moment, he proved something the world would never accept. He was human, and from that day on, she gave him a name. So Dua, the coconut boy. But what she didn't know was that this child, the one the world would reject, would grow into something far greater than anyone could ever imagine. And the people who feared him the most would one day realize they were wrong. Terribly wrong. If you grow up being told you are nothing, eventually, The world expects you to believe it too. And most people do. But So Dua didn't. Life didn't suddenly become easier after he was accepted. If anything, it became harder. Because now he had to live in a world that had already decided who he was. People didn't look at him with curiosity. They looked at him with judgment. Some laughed. Some whispered. Others didn't even try to hide it. That thing can't do anything. He's just a burden. He shouldn't even exist. And the worst part wasn't the words. It was how normal they became. Day after day, those voices blended into the background, until they were no longer insults but expectations. Even his mother, though she loved him, couldn't escape that feeling. She worked harder, longer, carrying both her life and his. And sometimes late at night, when everything was quiet, a thought would creep in. What kind of future could he possibly have? But So Dua noticed everything. He saw the way people looked at him. He heard the way they spoke. He understood far more than anyone realized. And one day, he made a decision. A simple one, but one that would change everything. "Mother, let me work." She froze. Not because she didn't hear him, but because she did. "How could you?" she asked. "You can't walk, you can't carry anything. How will you work?" Her voice wasn't cruel. It was afraid. But So Dua didn't argue. He didn't get angry. He didn't try to prove her wrong. He simply said, "Just let me try." And sometimes those 4 words carry more strength than anything else. The next day, he went to the house of the landlord, a man known not for kindness, but for calculation. When the landlord saw him, he almost laughed. This is what you call work." But then he paused, looked closer, and thought, "He eats little. He expects nothing. Even if he fails, it costs me nothing." And just like that, he agreed. "Fine," the landlord said. "You can herd the cows." Not because he believed in him, but because he didn't. And that was his mistake. The first day, people watched, curious, waiting for failure. But it didn't come. The cows didn't run away. They didn't get lost. They didn't fall sick. The second day, the same thing happened. Then the third. Then the fourth. Days turned into weeks. And something strange began to happen. The cows looked better than ever. Stronger. Healthier. Calmer. Even the landlord noticed. This doesn't make sense. Because it didn't. Not to them. How could someone who couldn't even walk do a job better than everyone else? But here's the truth they never understood. They were watching the wrong thing. They were looking at his body instead of his ability. They judged what they could see and completely missed what they couldn't. And that's how most people fail in life. They focus on limitations and ignore potential. So, Dua never complained. He never explained himself. He never tried to prove anything. He simply did the work.
Quietly, consistently,
without needing anyone to believe in him.
And slowly something began to change.
Not in the way he lived, but in the way the world saw him. People stopped laughing as much. They stopped whispering as loudly. Not because they respected him, but because they didn't understand him anymore. And when people don't understand something, they begin to fear it. But So Dua didn't notice. Or maybe he did and simply didn't care. Because for the first time in his life, he wasn't trying to prove them wrong. He was proving something to himself. That he was not what they said he was. And that is where real strength begins. But what no one knew was that this was only the beginning. Because the truth behind So Dua was far more complicated than anyone could imagine. And soon someone would finally see it. People don't usually look twice at something they've already judged. Once a label is given, most people stop paying attention. But not everyone. The landlord had 3 daughters. The older 2 were used to being admired. They cared about appearance, about status, about what people would say. And to them, so Dua was nothing more than something to avoid, something to laugh at, something beneath them. But the youngest daughter was different. She didn't speak much. She didn't follow the others. And more importantly, she didn't rush to judge. At first, she simply noticed small things. The way the cows followed him, as if they trusted him. The way the field stayed calm, even when no one else was around. It didn't make sense. And instead of ignoring it, she became curious. One day, it was her turn to bring food out to the fields. The sun was softer that afternoon. The air quiet, almost too quiet. As she walked closer, she heard something unexpected. A flute. Soft, clear, almost unreal. She stopped, listened, and slowly moved toward the sound. What she saw made her freeze. There, under the shade of a tree, sat a young man. Not just any man. Someone completely different. He was calm, confident, almost effortless in the way he carried himself. The music flowed naturally, as if it had always belonged to him. For a moment, she forgot why she came. Forgot everything, because nothing about this made sense. She took a step closer, careful, quiet, afraid that even the smallest sound would break whatever this was. And then it did. The music stopped. The man turned slightly, and in the next second, he was gone. Completely gone. In his place lay Dua, still, familiar. As if nothing had happened, her heart began to race. Not out of fear, but realization. This wasn't an illusion. This wasn't a mistake. She had just seen the truth. And suddenly, everything made sense. The cows. The silence of the fields. The way nothing ever went wrong. He was never what people thought he was. He had simply been hiding. But the question was, why? She didn't tell anyone. Not her sisters. Not her father. Not even herself, at first. Because some truths change everything. And once you see them, you can't go back. The next day, she returned. And the day after that. Each time, she watched more carefully, listened more closely, and each time she saw it again. The same man, the same quiet confidence, the same music echoing through the empty fields. And each time, he disappeared before anyone else could see. At some point, curiosity turned into something else. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but slowly, quietly. She began to see him differently, not as the world described him, but as who he truly was. And when you see someone like that, really see them, something changes. You stop noticing what they lack and start noticing what they are. And that's where it begins. Not attraction, not fascination, but understanding. And from understanding, something deeper grows. One evening, as the sun was setting, she stood a little closer than before, not hiding, not afraid. This time he noticed. The music stopped, but he didn't disappear. For the first time, they looked at each other. No words. No explanations. Just silence. But it wasn't empty, because in that silence, they both understood something no one else ever would. He wasn't a monster, and she was the only one who saw it. That was the moment everything changed. Not just for them, but for what would come next. Because seeing the truth is one thing, But choosing it in a world that refuses to accept it is something else entirely. Loving someone in secret is one thing, but choosing them in front of the world is something else entirely. And that moment came sooner than anyone expected. When So Dua finally spoke, it wasn't about work. It wasn't about proving himself. It was about her. Mother. I want to marry her. The words were simple, but what they meant was anything but. His mother froze. Not because she didn't understand, but because she understood too well. This isn't something we can ask for, she said quietly. They will never accept it. And she was right. When she brought the offer to the landlord, he didn't get angry. He didn't shout. He laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was impossible. You want to marry my daughter? He looked at her, then shook his head. Fine. If you can bring me gold, silk, feasts, wealth beyond your life, then we'll talk. It wasn't a condition. It was a rejection. A polite way of saying, no. She returned home, ready to end the conversation. But So Dua didn't argue, didn't get upset. He simply said, just wait. And sometimes confidence like that comes from knowing something others don't. The day of the wedding arrived, and something impossible happened. The house was full. Gold, silk, food, servants. Everything the landlord had demanded was there. Not borrowed, not fake, real. The landlord stood there silent, confused, because for the first time he realized something dangerous. He had completely misjudged this boy. The daughters were called in. The two older ones refused immediately, their faces twisted with disgust. They wouldn't even pretend. But the youngest said nothing. She simply lowered her eyes and nodded, because she had already chosen. Long before this moment, the wedding was prepared quickly, larger than anyone expected, more beautiful than anyone imagined. People gathered, curious, whispering, waiting to see what would happen, because no one truly believed this would end normally. And then the moment came. The groom stepped forward, but it wasn't So Dua. There was no small round body, no helpless figure. Instead, there stood a man, the same man from the field, calm, confident, real. The crowd fell silent, because everything they believed collapsed in that moment. The thing they mocked had never been what they thought, and the truth had been right in front of them all along. The two older sisters stood frozen, their expressions changing from disgust to shock to something else, regret, because for the first time they saw what they had missed. But it was too late. The ceremony continued, but something had already changed. Not just the way people saw So Dua, but the way they saw themselves. After the wedding, life didn't slow down. If anything, it moved faster. So Dua didn't settle, didn't relax, didn't stop. He studied, day and night, relentless, focused. Because proving people wrong was never his goal. Becoming something greater was. And in time, he did. He passed every exam, outperformed every scholar, rose above everyone who once looked down on him, until one day he became something no one expected. A top scholar, a man of status, a man of respect. The same world that once rejected him now accepted him, not because it understood him, but because it could no longer deny him. And that is how the world works. It doesn't change its values. It changes its attitude when success becomes undeniable. But success has a side no one talks about. It doesn't just bring admiration. It reveals people. And not everyone is ready for that. Because somewhere behind the smiles, behind the congratulations, behind the silence, something else was growing. Something quiet, something patient, something dangerous. And soon it would surface, because the story was far from over. For a while, everything felt right. Not perfect, but real. So Dua and his wife lived quietly.
No noise.
No show. Just a life built on understanding, not appearances. And so Dua kept moving forward. He studied, late into the night, again and again when everyone else had already stopped trying. Because people think success changes you. But sometimes it only reveals who you've always been. And in time, he achieved something no one expected. He became a top scholar, respected, recognized, no longer ignored. The same world that once rejected him now accepted him without question. But success has a cost. Not for him, for the people around him. Because not everyone can stand watching someone they once looked down on rise above them. And that's where jealousy begins. The two older sisters never forgot, never let it go, never moved on. They watched her life, her happiness, her place beside a man they once rejected. And slowly something inside them changed. Not loudly, not suddenly, but quietly, deep, dangerously. When So Dua was sent away on royal duty, it created something they had been waiting for. An opening. Before leaving, he gave his wife 3 things. A small flint stone, a knife, and 2 eggs. Simple objects. Nothing valuable. But sometimes the simplest things are the ones that matter most. Days later, the sisters came, smiling, gentle,
Familiar.
"Let's go out," they said, just like before. And she trusted them, because that's what family does. Or at least, that's what we believe. They took her to the sea. The water was calm.
Too calm.
For a moment, everything felt normal. And then it happened. A push. No warning.
No hesitation. She fell.
The water swallowed her whole.
Cold.
Heavy. Endless. And then darkness. A giant creature closed around her. A fish. Massive.
Silent.
This should have been the end. But it wasn't, because she still had the knife. And sometimes survival is not about strength. It's about using what you have at the exact moment it matters. She cut her way out, fought her way through darkness. And somehow she reached the surface. Alone.
Lost.
But alive. The ocean carried her until she reached land. An island. Empty. Silent. No people. No help. Just her and whatever she could build. She made fire. Cooked the fish that almost killed her. Survived one day, then another. And then something small, something almost meaningless became everything. The eggs hatched. 2 small chickens. Life in the middle of nowhere. They became her only companions. Her only proof that she wasn't alone. Days passed, then more, until one morning something changed. A boat. Far away, moving slowly across the horizon. The rooster saw it first, and began to cry out. Not randomly, not aimlessly, but clearly, as if it understood. Over here, this is the right boat. Take her home. The boat stopped, turned, came closer, and when they arrived, everything fell into place. It was his boat. So Dua stood there, frozen, because some moments don't feel real until they happen. They didn't speak at first, didn't need to, because everything that mattered was already understood. He brought her home, but he didn't reveal the truth immediately. Instead, he waited. A celebration was prepared. Guests were invited. The sisters came too, smiling, calm, even relieved, because they believed the story had ended the way they wanted. They spoke of loss, of tragedy, of how much they missed her, and people listened, because lies are easy to believe when no one challenges them. Until the moment everything changed. He called her out, and she walked in, alive, silent, real. No accusations, no shouting, no explanation. Just presence. And that was enough. The room fell quiet. The truth stood there in front of everyone. The sisters didn't argue, didn't defend themselves. Because there are moments when the truth is so clear that even lies give up. They left, quietly, not punished, not chased, just gone. Because sometimes the worst consequence is having to live with what you've done. And in the end, everything returned to stillness. But it was no longer empty, because now it was understood. And if there's one thing this story leaves behind, it's this. The world will judge you before it understands you. People will doubt you before they believe in you. And some will try to destroy you simply because you became something they couldn't. But none of that defines you, because in the end, truth doesn't need to fight. It only needs to appear. And when it does, everything else falls apart. And maybe the real monsters were never the ones who looked different. Maybe they were the ones who couldn't stand someone else's light. If there's one thing this story quietly reminds us, it's that what truly matters is never what people see first. So Dua was never defined by how he looked. He was defined by what he chose to become. His patience, his effort, his willingness to keep going even when no one believed in him. And that's where real value lives. Not on the outside, but in what you build within yourself. But none of that would have mattered if someone hadn't given him a chance. His mother chose compassion when fear would have been easier. The youngest daughter chose understanding when judgment would have been safer. And those choices changed everything. Because sometimes one act of kindness is enough to change someone's entire life. So, Dua never waited for acceptance. He didn't need approval to move forward. He simply kept going, step by step, until the world had no choice but to see him differently. And that's the quiet truth most people forget. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need to not give up on yourself. And in the end, everything found its place. Not because someone forced it, but because truth always rises to the surface. Sooner or later, what is right remains, and what is wrong falls apart on its own. Maybe this story feels distant, like something from another time, but the truth is it happens every day. People are still judged before they're understood, still ignored before they're given a chance. So maybe the real question is not about Dua, maybe it's about us. How many times have we looked at someone and decided who they were without ever really knowing them? If this story made you pause even for a second, then maybe it was never just a story. And if you're still here, there's more waiting to be uncovered. More stories, more truths hidden where most people never look. Stay with me, because the next story might not just change what you hear, it might change how you see everything.